It seems like the time is right for me to do this very important video regarding information that you're hearing online from others, other channelers, other people in the spiritual community. How maybe at one point messages may have resonated with you, now they're not resonating. Maybe they're saying things a little bit weird, things that you don't understand. It just doesn't align with what you believe, maybe what they've talked about in the past. So I've been hearing a lot about this. I want to address this to bring some clarity about how this channeling process works with information that comes in and flows from both my perspective, someone who channels. When I'm in a new you, especially when I'm teaching a new you, a lot of that information's coming in from my higher self, from my guides. I don't always designate it as such at the time, but I get into a flow state and information comes forward. And that comes through from my perspective as coming from me, right? But when information comes in through me, or whether it comes in through somebody else, whether I present information that comes in as coming from my guides, it is all moving through my body, through my physical vessel, and it is being modulated through my beliefs, through my experiences, through what I know from the human side. So when you are listening to other people bringing forward information, you are hearing information that is coming through their human filter. Now, in order to channel, you need to get aligned, you need to get centered, you need to allow, you need to open up. But there is still an element of filtering that is taking place because that information is moving through the physical body. There is dense energy in the physical body that the high frequency light, as it moves through, is encountering. And that dense energy is there because of your traumas and from your past experiences. So the light is hitting this density as it's moving through your central channel, and it is being reduced in frequency. It is being modulated, and it comes forward in a way that the human brain can understand. But it can be skewed towards your the channeler's limiting beliefs and traumas. Okay, so it's important to not just sit back and believe or take in as truth everything that is being said by people out there who are channeling higher frequency multidimensional beings or ET beings. Okay, it's so important to say that's a conversation that we need to have. Okay, when I channel, I get aligned as best as I can. It's almost like my humanness is stepping aside and letting this information come through. And I know other channelers are the same way, they're doing the same thing, but yet there is still an element of filtering that is happening as this energy moves through you. So you need to keep that in perspective because we are all expanding in consciousness. We are all growing. We are all shifting. We're all changing. So therefore, that brings up the next point that messages may change. As the channeler expands, as a channeler grows, they may be more open to bringing through more of a pure message. Okay, could also go the other way. Say a channeler is expanding and they're growing and they are releasing density within them and they're channeling and that is encountering the density that could also skew a message. Okay, so you may hear somebody bringing information forward. Maybe it's not real consistent with things they've said before. That is simply because of the state of alignment, the state of centeredness that they are in when that information is coming through. Okay, we are human here, having a human experience, bringing multidimensional energy and information through us, through the human body. So it's going to slow down in vibration, it's going to lower in frequency as it moves through you, and that information needs to be interpreted by the channeler. Okay, and the channeler is going to have some level of bias based on their experiences and based on their traumas. So if you're hearing or listening to content out there, maybe things aren't resonating like they did with a certain person. Things are shifting. Maybe you're just not feeling right about it. Well, two things could be happening. They could be going through a shift within that is bringing the information through just a little bit differently. And more importantly, more likely, you're going through a shift within meaning that you are clearing your channel and you are now looking at information that's coming through differently than maybe you had in the past. You're a lot more observant, you're a lot more present, your intuition's a little bit more online. Maybe it's pinging you like something doesn't sound right. Maybe it did in the past, but now it doesn't. You are growing, you are expanding, you are becoming more clear in your being. So the important message there is maybe it's time to start relying a little bit less on what you're hearing out there from others and start tuning into what your intuition is bringing forward for you. Now, information that you are getting, if you're starting to channel or starting to connect, I know people in my New You program are really starting to connect, starting to channel, starting to connect with animals and actually have conversations with animals out in the wild. It's an absolute amazing thing. That is because your channel is clearing. So you become less reliant on what other people are saying, maybe a little bit more reliant and trusting on your intuition because you are the one creating your reality. So when you can look inward, move that high frequency light through you, your channel clears, your central channel clears, and energy gets up to the brain, you start to be able to discern and tap into information on your own. And maybe what others are saying doesn't completely align with what you're receiving because everybody, again, has their own filter. I don't care how clear of a channel you think you are. If you are here, present, conscious as a human being, you have a filter. And that filter is being modulated by your conditioning, by your limiting beliefs, by your experiences, and by your traumas. Now, as you further detach from that and heal that, right, it doesn't have as much of an influence on the information that moves through. But even people that have been channeling for a long, long time, as I've talked about in other videos, move in and out of different frequencies throughout the day. And as they're channeling, they may encounter a little bit of a block or a little bit of density. Sometimes, and I've gone through this, the information that comes forward brings up a limiting belief or a program. So that could kind of tend to pull you a little bit out of alignment, and then that filter kicks in and that information gets a little skewed. Now, if people are listening to that, they may think something's off or something's wrong. It's just part of the process, okay? So don't judge so much when it comes to that. I just want you to know when you are hearing information and maybe things resonated with you and now they don't, maybe somebody you thought was awesome, they were so in tune, so aligned at some point, and now maybe they're not. We're all going through this experience of expansion. You are as well. Maybe your intuition is lighting up a little bit more. Maybe you're a clearer channel in that moment than the person you're listening to because they're going through some sort of a purge and information's being filtered. That your intuition saying, no. We have a clearer line of sight here. We have clearer information moving through us. Let's trust what we've got coming in here instead of relying solely on what that person is saying. Then you realize that you are connected just like all these other people are, right? All these experts that you maybe spent years listening to that were guiding you on some level because you didn't have the confidence and the faith in yourself to be able to take control and guide yourself, right? So when that starts to come online, you start to realize that. You start to hear people maybe you've listened to for a long, long time. You're like, that just doesn't resonate with me anymore. Well, that's because you have expanded your consciousness. Your channel is getting clear. You're more in tune with your truth. Doesn't mean you don't have healing to do. It means that you need to go inside and actually feel what's rising up within you instead of relying solely on some external person to tell you what it's all about, right? So I think this is an important conversation that we need to have. I've just been seeing a lot of things out there about channelers, that they've changed, that the information's not the same. So I just wanted to bring some clarity to that and know that if you're looking for the truth lies within. The best way to access your highest truth is to clear the energy blockages that are going on within you. That'll open you up. You'll release the trauma. You'll release the density. You'll start to feel lighter. You'll work towards activating your light body. You'll start to have multidimensional experiences. And you'll find that you don't need so much to listen to what others are saying externally. You've got access to that information within. You just had to trust and you had to clear whatever it was that is blocking you. And all of that amazing stuff that you thought you didn't have access to starts to come forward into your experience. It moves up into here. You start to perceive it. Before you know it, you're the channeler.